Hello everyone, my name is Michael and I am a Crafty Crocheter. Did you know that mastering Entrelac Crochet can transform your projects into stunning works of art in just a matter of minutes? Today I will show you the basics of Entrelac Crochet and how to quickly create beautiful and textured designed projects. Now many crocheters, both beginners and expert crocheters, will find traditional techniques time-consuming and complex, which can lead to frustration and then in the end, abandonment of all of their projects. I will guide you through the fundamental techniques and stitches that make up Entrelac Crochet, including how to form squares. Once you have grasped the basic concepts and basic stitches, you'll quickly see how you can create an entire Entrelac piece, showcasing the beauty and versatility of this technique. Now join me as I take on this challenge of mastering the art of Entrelac Crochet. Can I do it? We'll see. And after this video, you'll be able to master it as well. So grab your hook and grab some yarn and let's get this crocheting party started. Alright everyone, now I'm going to show you the basic techniques on how to master the art of Entrelac Crochet, and you see here I made a swatch earlier, and I will also show you how to join the squares so that way you can build your project as you would like. Now you can use, since this style of crochet basically utilizes the Tunisian simple stitch, you can use either a standard Tunisian crochet hook. In this example, this is an H size hook or a 5.0 millimeter hook, or you can use a standard crochet hook. This one I happen to like because it has a longer shaft on here, so it easily catches the stitches. But whatever crochet hook you want to use is up to you. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I am going to use this crochet hook. Now to get started, as with any project, you have to create a base chain. So I'm going to go ahead and create my slip knot now. And you can create your slip knot however you like. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to chain 10. Six, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then since this utilizes the Tunisian simple stitch, this loop on the hook does count as a stitch. So to begin the first row, take your crochet hook and insert it into the top loop only of the next you skip the first chain from hook and go into the second chain from hook, and go into that loop, top loop only, and then pull the yarn through, and then that's your second stitch. And you'll continue this until you get all the way down to the end. So again, insert your hook into the top loop only, that third chain, pull the yarn through, get some more yarn, and then you're going to continue this until you get to the very end of the chain. I will work that with you. It's 5. And the trick is, make sure that you have the same amount of stitches on your hook as you did for your chain. So for this example, since I chained 10, I should have 10 stitches or loops on the hook at the end. So this should be number 9. Then here's the last one, number 10, and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10. Okay, so I have 10. I thought I miscounted for a second. So that is your first row, and then what we did was called a forward pass. And so what the next thing we're going to do is what's known as a return pass, return pass. So to do that, you're going to take your yarn over and then pull the yarn through the first loop only, and then you should have. And then for the remainder of the row, you're going to yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and then you can keep doing that until you have 1 loop remaining on your hook. Pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over first two, yarn over first two, and then yarn over the last two. So you should have one loop remaining on your hook. And then if I pull this a little bit, you see those bars? Those are what's known as the vertical bars. And so since this technique is utilizing the Tunisian simple stitch, you're just going to loop through the front vertical bar only. So skip this stitch here. You're going to skip this first stitch here. That does not count. So you're going to go into the next vertical bar, just to the front of it, like so, and then you're going to take your yarn and pull it through and loop up. So then that's your second, and then again take your hook, go into the next vertical bar only, and pull the yarn through that loop, and then you're going to keep going until you get to the very end. So again, keep in mind that you need to have the same amount of stitches as your starting chain. So make sure and for this example, make sure you have 10 loops on your hook at the end. So I'm reaching towards the end now. This is the ninth loop, and now I'm at the last one. So you have a couple choices. You can go through the front vertical bar only, or you can go through both loops behind. But since it's Tunisian simple stitch, I'm just going to go through under the last vertical bar only and just loop through like normal. And then now you should have 10 on your hook. And then you're going to repeat this again to finish off the second row. So you're going to yarn over, pull through the first loop only, and then next pull yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops only, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and you're going to keep doing this until you have 1 loop remaining on your hook. I'll finish this row off with you. Alright, and then that is the last row. And to make this a perfect square, since I chained 10, you're going to take 10 and minus 2. That is the formula. So for any amount of chains that your base chain is, you minus 2 for the amount of rows you need to create that perfect square. So in my case, I would need to have a total of 8 rows for this square. So I will work the rest of this off camera, and then as soon as I get that 8th row done, I will meet you back and then we'll finish it off. Alright everyone, I have just completed the 8th row for this square, and you see how the stitches are coming along for the Tunisian simple stitch. And one thing you have to be aware of is, since it is a Tunisian simple stitch, the bottom is going to curl up quite a bit. So I think you can use a bigger hook, or you can block it, but we're not going to do that in this video. So I'm just showing you the basics of how to work Entrelac Crochet. So I'm on the 8th. I finished the 8th row. So what you're going to do to finish off the row, to finish off the square, is you're going to take your hook and go through the vertical bars before, but you're going to yarn over and work a slip stitch. So you're going to go through both loops. Again, go to the next vertical bar, pull the yarn through both loops. Again, pull the hook through the vertical bar, yarn over, go through both loops. And you can also do this with a single crochet stitch, but for the purposes of Entrelac, I'm just going to do slip stitches. Again, you're going to do this until you get to the very end of the row. Slip stitch, go into the next vertical bar, do a slip stitch, vertical bar, work a slip stitch, and then go into the, and as before, go to the vertical bar, the last vertical bar, and work a slip stitch. And then you're going to go ahead and cut this, and then just kind of fasten off. Alright, and then this is your completed square. And next I'm going to show you how to start a new square and join the square to this existing one. Alright, so next I'm going to show you how to join squares, and you can change colors with this. Ideally it's better to change color so you're not having the same color for all the squares. So what you're going to do is you're going to work a new color yarn, and I already worked a slip stitch onto the hook, so you can use any color you want. So you're going to take your hook and go through this from the base row, you're going to work into this row here, the first stitch of the row, like so. Then you're going to take your yarn and loop it around, and then you're going to work a slip stitch through there. And I like to tighten this down a little bit. And since we started with chain 10, for every subsequent square you're going to work one less. So since I started off with 10, I'm going to chain 9 from here, and you'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 9 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And again, as before, this loop on the hook does count as a first stitch. So then you're going to do the same thing as you did with your beginning square. So you're going to skip the first chain from hook, go into the second chain, and pull the yarn through. So insert your hook into the top loop only of that chain, and pull through. Then there's your 2 loops, and then you're going to do that until you get 9 on the hook. So I'll work that with you. Some more yarn. And then I have 5, so that means I have 4 more. 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Okay, there's your 9th one, so you should have 9 loops, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So then to join to the square, you're going to take your hook, and I like to pull the tail behind it so I can weave that in as I go along. So you're going to take your hook, go into the same stitch as when you started the chain, and then you're going to loop through, and then that'll be your 10th loop. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and you're going to keep pulling through 2 loops until you get to the very end. 2 loops, yarn over, 2 loops, yarn over, 2 loops, and again, after you pull through all that, you should have 1 loop remaining on the hook. And then there is your first row of the new square. And then as before, you're gonna, for the next row, work as you did before. Next vertical bar, pull that loops, next vertical bar, loop, pull the yarn through, and keep going until you get to the 9th loop. See, and then you should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And then to join this row, go ahead and you're going to go up to the next stitch, or the next row, and insert your hook through there. Then pull through for your 10th loop. And then as before, you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And keep going through the 2 loops until you get to the very end and have 1 loop remaining. Alright, and then you're going to repeat that until you get to the very end, and then I will work that off camera, and then I will show you how to finish that row and then go on to the next square. Okay, everyone, so I have finished row 8 of this square here, but I'm going to show you how to join this square to the square on the left side. So I've worked my 9 slip stitch. So to finish off and work the 10th one, you're going to take your hook, go into the first stitch on the far right of the square on the left, or the previous square, pull it through, then you're going to pull through there, and then just work a slip stitch as you have before, and then there you go, you just joined your new square onto the previous one. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to work the next square that's going to be on top of this one, so it's going to go up. And basically you're going to do the same thing as you did for your starting chain on the first square and the second one. but you're not going to chain because the chain's already done for you as a result of the slip stitches on top. So to start, you're going to just take your hook, go into the next stitch at the top, and then pull that yarn through, and then you'll have 2 loops. Insert your hook into the next stitch, pull that yarn through, that's 3, and you're going to keep doing this until you get to the end of the row. And this is where tension is important. Maybe should have loosened up on the tension a little bit, but this to be at 6. And this is number 9. Gotta finesse it in there a little bit. Okay, and this could be number 9. And then to finish off the 10th one, just take your hook and go into the last vertical bar of this row here and pull your yarn through that way. That'll be number 10. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then as you did with your first square, you're going to yarn over and then pull through the first loop only on that square. And then after that, you're going to yarn over and pull through the next 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops. And then you're going to keep doing that until you get to the very end, and you should have 1 loop remaining on your hook. And there you go. And then that is the end of that row. And then as before, you're going to do the same thing as you did for this square and this square. You're just going to work your rows until you get to the 8th row to keep it nice and square. So I'll work one more row with you. So again, skip this vertical bar here, but then go into the next vertical bar in front of it, and then pull your yarn through there for 2. Go into the next vertical bar, yarn through as 3. Go into the next vertical bar, pull the yarn through 4. Then you're going to do that until you get to the end, and making sure that you have the right amount of stitches or loops on your hook as you do so, because sometimes it's easy to lose track of those, and then your square is going to look a little off. So it should be, and plus this curling sometimes can be annoying, so you gotta work with that as well. So this is the 9th one here. And then here's number 10, and then that's before. And make sure you count your row: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then yarn over, pull through the first loop only, and then yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops, and again keep doing that until you get to the very end, and you should have 1 loop remaining on your hook. Alright, then you're going to repeat this process until you get to the 8th row, and then you're going to finish off that square as you did for this square here. So I'll work the rest of the rows off camera, and then I'll show you how to finish off this top square. Alright everyone, so I just went ahead and I finished off this square. I just fastened off row 8 up here. So do you see how the square is coming along? So now if you wanted to increase the size of the project, you would just keep joining new squares to this side and work your way diagonally up and keep going until you get to the width and the height you want. So going from here up is increasing, so what we're going to do here is decreasing. So to decrease, you would start your slip knot or your first stitch right here on the upper right hand corner of the bottom square and just work up to join this one. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same color yarn as the beginning square. So to finish this off or to decrease it, you're going to take your hook, go into the first stitch of the square at the top, and just going to do a slip stitch through there. And then passing it off, and that is your first loop. So then go in, I'm going to pull this over a little, this tail over so I can weave that in. So go into the next stitch at the top, and you're going to loop through for your second loop on the hook, and you're going to keep doing that until you get to the ninth one. It's a little tricky today, for some reason. There we go. And go to the next stitch. Go into the next stitch. I guess that's not going to work. There's 5, and then this could be number 7, number 8, and this one's going to be number 9 through this top one where my hook is. And then as before, when you joined this square to this square, you're going to go into the next stitch of this square here, or the right here, this stitch right here, and then you're going to loop that through for your 10th. And then as before, you're going to pull the yarn through the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and keep doing that until you get to the end, and you should have 1 loop remaining on your hook. Right, and then there you go. That is your first row of this square here. And as you did with this square here, you're going to do the same thing until you get to the end of that. So I'll work this off camera, and then I'll meet you at the very end, and we'll finish off this part. All right, so I've just finished off row 8 of this square on the corner. So to finish it off, you're going to do the same thing as you did for when joining this square up this way. So you're going to take your hook, go into the first stitch of this square up here, and then you're just going to work a slip stitch through there. And then if you deem that this is done, you can just cut the yarn and fasten it off. And I'm going to fasten it off like that, and then that is how you work entrelac. Now, if you wanted to, you can do like a simple crochet border like I did for this swatch here to combat that curling. But again, since we used the Tunisian simple stitch, it's going to curl like that because the stitches are worked on the one side only. And if you look at the back, you see like how these little bumps kind of resemble knit stitches when you're knitting. Alright, and then as you said, if you actually wanted to work off on this, you could just join squares this way, or you can join squares this way and just work however you would like. But usually you can do a corner to corner, or you can just do squares this way, or you can do a big chain and then just work off as the size of squares you want and go from there. Alright, and that is how you master the art of entrelac crocheting. Alright, I hope that everyone enjoyed today's video, and I hope that the techniques I've shown you will allow you to master the art of entrelac crochet, so that way you can create beautiful and textured projects such as blankets, tablecloths, whatever you want to use the Entrelac technique for. So I hope everyone's day is going well today, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, and leave comments as well. And you can also showcase your Entrelac project with me on this channel, so that way everyone can see what projects you have all created and how you've mastered the art of Entrelac crochet. And as a friendly reminder, this is a safe and creative space for everybody, so please no negative or derogatory comments. And on that note, take care of yourself and each other.